All right, we'll go on the whistle.
I'll just do what you tell me, right, Cap? Oh yeah, he's going for it. To LCW Tuesday Night Crit. Just wanted you to hear that opening banter as I told Amy White that I was just gonna do whatever she told me this week, because last week she tried to help motivate our chase of the breakaway that stuck, so I'd been joking with her that she was gonna be the captain for tonight, and instead of us doing some confused chasing, if need, we just do whatever she said. So here we are at the at the Admiral Loop. And it is a nice short 1.2 kilometer lap, something like that. We've got a headwind on this section here. This is the start-finish straight, and pretty good headwind. It's been a windy week this week, and you can definitely feel it out on the race course this week. How's the season so far? Well, I am still riding B, and things are going pretty good. I've been able to be active in the group. I've been placing on the results, getting some points, and feeling better at the end of each ride. And so I told myself going into this week that this is probably going to be my last week in B, and then I'm going to force myself to move up to the A grade. And unless I have a really terrible, I get dropped or something from this race. And that was the plan: is to really, push myself and race with people who are all a lot faster than me to help me get stronger and faster. Other than that, for this course, so this week we had a much bigger group than we've had so far. All the youth you'll see in the red and the black kits, various iterations of attack racing and former versions. They're back from various training and races and that kind of stuff, so that definitely expands the B group. And seeing some old faces back. Saw Jay back, which is amazing. Jay was one of the guys who really, inspired and pushed me a lot when I first started crit racing, and just his really, I think we have a pretty shared sense of humor on a lot of this stuff and life in general, and Jay was just really great at making these as fun as they could be for me, and so great to see him back out. So yeah, some new faces, some old faces, and all in all, lots of numbers. And so for me, what that says is it's going to be a faster night, and it's going to be harder for brakes to stay away. So the more people you get, unless you get to, there's like also a critical mass size where it gets strung out so much that you have brakes, mostly it means more people to chase back anything that goes. And sure enough, our overall average here on the night was 42 kilometers an hour, which I think that's our fastest for this year, at least that I've been a part of. Not that much slower than A group. I think I saw about 44 on the A group. So yeah, very fast night. Now, the great thing is, fast is good for me because I'm better aerobic than anaerobic. So the more we can have a long, hard, fast race, and more people that can be, shelled before we get to a final sprint, or at least can be really suffering before the final sprint, and the more things can be strung out before the final sprint, that's good news for me. So for me, a big pack means good stuff most of the time. What else do we have going on? Not that much other than that in terms of plans. Actually, Pete, who's pulling here, he asked me before the race, really good question, do I come into these with a plan? And no, I don't. So I think I've mentioned in the previous race, my plan is to get a good workout. So I'll do some attacks, I'll do some chasing back, whatever I need to do to build myself towards the A group. But mostly, my plan is to keep it fast. And so what happens naturally, especially as we turn into this windy section, is you'll get moments where everyone sits up and slows down. And so I'll just go over top, not necessarily in a big attack. I'll attack if the moment's right, but often I'll just take my pull on the front in, a little bit brisker than the last person was pulling. Force everyone to stand up a little and catch back up to me, and then go fast for half a lap or so, and really just motivate everyone to keep that whole pace up. Yeah, just make it hard. Yeah, so that was the plan. Was probably expecting no real breakaways to stick. Keep the pace rolling hot, and make sure that hopefully I place before moving up next week if things go well. All right. So the other thing I wanted to mention on this evening, and you'll see this in about another minute, I believe. Oh, and I should say I'm not going to fast forward this. It's just over 30 minutes, I think, for the full race. So hope folks are interested in watching a full race. If it's too much, just let me know in the comments, and I will trim it down. I'm a professor. I can talk for 3 hours on a single subject. This is what I do for a living. So I think I'm okay narrating a full 35-minute race. But what I wanted to talk about actually in this race is cornering. So you're going to see some less optimal cornering in a couple sections here, including right here, where you have a lot of braking going into the corners. And I used to help coach the attack racers, and so huge respect for what they do, and really, like working with the youth, and they're here at LCW hopefully to learn. So one of the things that they can learn, and others, it's not just the youth in the pack, it's other riders as well, is just to keep away from the brakes in the corners unless you absolutely have to. So the more you can just use your position of the bike, go a little outside if you need to scrub off a bit more speed. If you need to pick up a bit on people, go inside a little, and use that to modulate instead of the brakes, because you get this whole concertina effect. If people in the front are braking, then the next guy's braking, the next guy's braking, the next guy's braking. And there was a little bit too much braking in the corners going on in this race, and I know some of the other experienced folks mentioned this as well afterwards. So there's my little tip for our youth riders or for novice riders who are doing their first crit is if no one brakes, then no one has to brake. As soon as someone up the chain starts braking, then everyone down the chain has to brake as well. So that was a nice corner. See that? See how smooth we were through that corner? No braking required. We coasted it a little bit. More. So here, I am positioning myself outside a bit because I was a little faster than Paul into that corner, and then I pick his wheel up as I go out of the corner. Alright, so into the headwind is often when the group slows up. So that's what I watch for really is on this section for if I need to go. Oh, so the other thing I wanted to mention actually while I'm talking about the attack youth, and again, I don't know that any of them or their coaches will ever watch this video, but if they do, I just wanted to say I'm actually really impressed by the guys we were racing with this week, and really just the whole approach that I've seen is really much more active in the group than they have been in the past. And so it's actually a really tough scenario to be in terms of how do you set the goals for youth in training kind of races. And so there's basically two ways to go about it. One is that you can teach youth to win a race, and the way you're going to win a crit like this is you're going to sit a little bit back and you're going to go for a free ride, because like I said, this size pack is probably not going to have a successful breakaway. Now you need to be far enough forward that you're not going to miss a split that happens in the middle of the race or something. But really, if you want to win, then you're going to do as little work as possible. You're going to sit in and then try to position well and sprint the finish. So that's one way, and so you're learning patience and positioning and sustaining yourself. On the flip side, though, you don't get as good a workout, obviously, if you're just sitting in. So then the other option is teaching them to be near the front, to be active, to chase, that kind of stuff. Which, to be honest, unless your goal is, okay, you guys need to get some points tonight, you're going to play it safe and smart. If you're just there to have a workout and get stronger, I really do think being active is really helpful. And again, maybe you do one week, the other another week. But I was just really impressed by how active the youth were, how much they were towards the front of the race. In the past there has been a little grumbling that they kind of sit on a lot and then out sprint us old geezers at the finish. So fun to have them active up front and working along. So now I'm no youth coaching expert, so correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, hey, there's Manny. Just wanted to point out in the black. Great to see Manny. Haven't seen him probably in a pandemic's age. Manny's thighs, you'll notice, have their own postal code. Absolute power rider. So great to have Manny back in the pack. Like I said, new faces and old faces. So we're just rolling by the C group here. So we're just try to be respectful, and so you'll see I go nice and wide, because I mean the last thing you want to do is pass the other pack and then squeeze them into the corner. So here you can see on the headwind section, folks looking around a little bit. On there, trying to figure out who's gonna do what. I thought Conrad was going there, so I wound it up on this side, and then he set up. So I was like, it's all right. I'll do my pull here. So Conrad was away in the break last week, so always, of course, watching him and watching for opportunities to go with him if I possibly can, because he's got the hero poles on a breakaway move. But timing, man, it's all about timing to make that breakaway stick, finding the moments when other people are tired and when the right chasers are too far back in the pack and all those sorts of things. So you will notice, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I think we had a pretty big group. I want to say close to 20 riders here. And you'll see it's a lot of the same people you actually see in front of me. So Pete and Brayden from LCW in the yellow. We've got the two attack guys, who I believe are Andrew and Josh. And then we got Paul from Cycles London in the vertical stripes, and Conrad in the black. And you'll see, not coincidentally, that a lot of those folks will feature in the top 5 as well, week to week. And so there is a lot to be said for heads-up riding and staying relatively near the front. You do get less of that concertina chasing, so you do save your legs a little bit, unless you are literally on the front, pulling all the time. And then you just don't get caught behind those splits, and those splits can be really deadly if you lose 5-6 bike lengths all of a sudden. Then you're closing gaps. So here's another spot. I'm carrying some speed here. We've got a kind of a cross tailwind into this section. I can tell Pete wants to sit up and wait. He's going to pinch the rest of the group in this corner, so I take off, knowing that as he cuts the apex of that corner, going much slower than me because he was getting off the front, he's going to hold up everyone behind. And I've got a tailwind on this section here, so I was like, alright, if I'm going to do an attack in this race, this is the time to do it. When they're at least going to give me a few bike lengths to, free bike lengths, really, to start. I mean, the other way you do that is when the whole group is slow, is you jump from maybe 4th, 5th wheel back and just sprint, go wide and sprint away from the group. But with myself not having much anaerobic ability, that just buries me so deep. You know, going 800 watts to get off the group. Whereas in that scenario, where it's the group that's slowing and I just have to push a little bit harder, maybe do 350, 400 watts, then, you know, my heart's not up in my throat after 5 seconds and I have a better chance to stay away. The other thing that's nice about this is, so in this section I'm going into headwind, and I know that behind me, the chase group, no one wants to really pull on the front into the headwind. And so if the chase group all looks at each other and hopes that someone else pulls, then you can really string out that gap. However, I was looking back here and I could see that that they weren't giving me a lot. You can see, I think in the shadow there, you see my head spin around a little bit. And they weren't giving anything away really to me, and the heart rate's creeping up, the breathing's creeping up. So it's like, I think we still have I don't think we've got the 15-minute warning yet on this race, so I don't think I can do the entire race at 43 kilometers an hour by myself. But again, I mean, it just goes with my whole goal of making things fast. Is if the group's gonna sit up, I'm gonna go. That's how it goes. Fading and past. Now, interestingly, Pete says to me as they go by here, stick with us. And so I was like, oh, is there did the group split on the chase? So I let them know that I'm sticking with them. I'm like, oh, are we going to get like a 5-person breakaway or something here? Because again, you know, I have no idea what's going on behind me when I'm away like that. But then they just kind of slow down here. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. Did we get away, or we're not getting away, or what's going on? Because I was actually, although I was tired from that attack, I had enough that if we were trying to go away as this little group here, that I would have definitely been down for it. But yeah, I think it's much ado about nothing on that. Maybe there was a gap, and then everyone was just a little bit tired from chasing me that we couldn't keep it. but I never really saw, never figured out what exactly was going on there. But I do know at this point the whole group is coming back together. And start to see people.
Hey, fancy meeting you here.
Like life. Fancy meeting you here, I say. Because I haven't seen Life all race. He's been racing smart, really. Sitting in one interval of my required 3. Because usually, like, you know, I'll attack once or twice and I'll chase back once or twice. Always game. So now we're deep enough in, we start to think about. You can see heads on swivels, people chatting. Conrad comes up here. Not sure what he's saying to Brayden, but it's like that second half of the race where you start to want to make something happen. I think Conrad, after his success last week, was eager to find a way to replicate that again.
Hey, I already did my effort, man.
He's talking to me about making it fast or attacking or something. I'm like, yeah, no, I just attacked like a lap ago.
I'll do it again if you ask nicely.
I tell him I'll do it again if you ask nicely. Because actually I would have if they were like, okay, we're gonna jump a couple people off the front here. Heck yeah, let's go for it. But again, you know, you got a couple different teams involved here. Not that I mean, I don't think any of the teams really like pre-strategize or anything. Well, maybe they do, but not that I'm aware of. But at the same time, it's hard to sort out if we're actually going to go together or if we're going to chase each other down. It's a very fine line between teamwork and the opposite of teamwork. So you really need to be clear and get some agreement in the moment if you're going to do a multi-team breakaway there. I like that move of Conrad, actually, to move up on the corner. That was slick. Dig into the headwind here a little bit. Make everyone hurt. So I think he was trying to get something going. But, I mean, like I said, big group moving at 42. What are you gonna do? You gotta go 45 to get away, creep away. It's pretty tough. Oh yeah, I was gonna get a time check. I think we're probably at or under the 15-minute warning at this point. So again, group slows down. I'll keep it quick. Pull off the front. Andrew does a nice little dig here. Slightly over the yellow line. But I guess part of attacking is swing to the other side of the road. Maybe a little too much to the side of the road. Judges say, let's keep her halfway over. Swing from the curb to the yellow line. But that's good. Keeps us flying along here. Those guys up there, I think, are the A riders just rolling in from their warm-up, so nothing too exciting for our race. Yeah, that's just the A group. So we did have some splits though, because you'll see a little while later we do come by some other riders, and there was, you know, a couple laps to go. Someone had a picture and we were down to like 10 people. And then you'll see the final sprint is basically a 5-person, 6-person sprint. So there were definitely, again, splits happening behind. You have no idea when you're keeping near the front. You have no idea that it's even happening most of the time. Or I don't. Maybe I just don't look back enough. But it doesn't really matter to me what's happening back. So again, Conrad here is trying to animate things, and then he ends up getting a bit frustrated, and the language gets a bit PG-13. But I mean, yeah, there's a little, a little upset that the group all kind of stayed together. But to split the group or to make an attack there, you gotta go way faster than, especially with the tailwind section here. Like, everyone's just gonna fly down with the tailwind. If you want to really split, you gotta try attack into the headwind or just before the headwind. Like, attack on this section, and then when people turn into the headwind, they'll want to not pull. But yeah, you can't really just slowly roll off the front when it's this fast. Maybe out on Scotland when this pace drops down to like 38 or something, you can sneak off the front. But so again, the group slows down, I speed it up. Keep things as tough as they'll go, tough as they can be. And because now we're getting into the tail end of the race, my worry is that some of the bigger sprinters, folks like Manny, are gonna get too much rest. Braden, Andrew, those guys. And so, you know, the longer I can keep the group motivated to go fast, the harder it's going to be for some of those anaerobic engines to really do their thing. So just pushing along here, not trying to get away or anything. Especially, I mean, the tailwind. I'm always happy to lead into the tailwind, with the tailwind. So this is great. You got, again, I think that's Josh. A little hard to tell from the angle. But I think that's Josh doing a great effort on the front here. And again, just really great to see the youth riders fully engaged in the racing. Does a nice pull, indicates clearly he's finishing his turn, leaves it to me. Just, yeah, really well done. Then I'm going to do my bit. Then I'm going to flick an elbow, pull over a little bit. Hope the next person comes through and does their turn. And then I'm jumping back in because there's little micro gaps being left. And again, even if it means I take more turns than everyone else, I'd rather keep her fast and furious than, because as soon as you get gaps and no one fills them, then the lead rider will just sit up and look around, and then that just kills the pace of everything. So do my turn, roll off, flick the elbow, get some more help, and now we got LCW in it, which is great.
Keep pushing.
So it's slowing down a little bit, so you hear me chirp to keep the group moving, because I don't want to do really hard turns.
No point in letting them recover.
Yeah, no point in letting them recover. So I don't want to do really hard turns, tire the pack, and then folks roll through and go light on the front, and then the pack all catches up and rests for a bit. I just want it to go full bore all the way. So I give a little bit of help here. So here you can see we're passing riders. So at this point I know we've definitely shrunk the pack, but not sure how much. So there we go, 3 laps to go sign. Held up by Ben. Shout out to Ben, Volunteer of the Year, running all these races for us.
Keep pushing.
So again, I'm yelling, keep pushing, because I can just feel that pace coming off, right? You just feel it easing. And it's like, no, 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 this is not what we want. We don't want to get swarmed by 15 rested people. So 2.5 laps to go now. I'm feeling great at this point. It's been, several laps since my attack, so I'm totally recovered. Done some short turns on the front. Short turns are fine. Especially because we're not going like bonkers fast. So I will definitely take my turn. Always. I mean, that's the other thing, is you don't want to be rude and then win and have not done anything. I mean, it's a Tuesday night race. It's at the World Championships. So better for everyone to do their turns. So I'll pull into the headwind. And this should be 2 to go that we see here. And again, I pull off and flip the elbow. 2 to go. So now, again, I'm just hoping for it to be as fast. So I'm always hoping someone's going to try to go long. And that just winds the group up and makes it really hard for the sprinters to recover if we can just go all out the last 2 laps. But obviously I can't just can't go solo. So like clockwork, unplanned, but couldn't have done it better if we had planned it. We have Amy on my team. Takes a flyer, winds the group up. This is like, yeah, like I said, it's perfect for me. Here I am just sitting free ride. She's stringing it out hard. Flying into the corners. I'm just coasting. Well, not coasting. Let's be honest, it was pretty fast. But I'm getting draft. Yeah, we kind of went wide there because we didn't know if that van was going to slow down or what it was going to do. But yeah, that was perfect. So shout out to Amy with the assist, and then Life does it too. Oh my gosh, it's too good. Seriously, if we had have talked ahead before the race, this is what I would have said we should do if I was going to do well in the race. Amy goes long. If unsuccessful, Life goes long. If unsuccessful, I'm still there at the finish. So it was perfect. It was perfect. Like we're flying here, and it's creating these micro gaps, and people are being forced to chase on, and it's just giving me space to go into the sprint, which is awesome. Now this gets really interesting here because there's like this 3 bike gap, and then the attack guys, I think they noticed that and then maybe thought they could get away. And that puts Braden in this really tough position because he doesn't necessarily trust the pack behind him. If he rolls off the front, is that just going to give the attack rider the win? But now he's pulling me. So he's in the worst position. I think I don't know, like if he rolls off though, again, is he just giving away the chance? So he probably should have rolled off, but then this is, I mean, Andrew, great timing here to get into that corner hard, and then I just had so much ground to make up already. On this spread of 400, 350 meters, maybe, from that corner to the finish. And Andrew's so strong, so he is just up, up, and away, but I am finishing it off for the team in second place. So that's a great turnout for me. It confirms that it's time for me to move up to 8. And great fast night. Great teamwork, intentional or unintentional, by Amy and Life. And yeah, tough luck for Braden to be kind of stuck chasing that that gap right at the end there. So yeah, catch us next week.